You finna go in this store, we going in and out. Don't ask for nothing. Don't look at nothing. If you don't got money, don't touch it. Y'all understand?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Get your head up. Get your attitude together, you understand? Fix your face while I fix it for you now.
Dad, I'm ready to go to Layla's house.
Go to who? Layla's house? Oh, okay. You finished eating food?
Not all of it.
Did you clean your room up like I told you to do earlier?
I forgot.
Oh, you forgot? Girl, you crazy. You know the rules. We ain't going nowhere till we clean that room up and finish our food now.
But Dad!
Ain't no but Dad. Go on. Man, it's raining pretty bad. Hey, what y'all doing? Hey, get over here, sit down. It's storming outside. Sit down, be still. Let the Lord do his work.
Kansas City. Welcome to motherfucking Detroit, man. One shit.
Welcome to another edition of I Often Wonder. It's your girl Alexis.
That nigga Jamel.
And we are introducing today our newest co-host, Mr. Lamar.
Chill. What's up, people? What's good?
So today we've got another roundtable discussion. We're going to talk about what age do you feel is appropriate to confront or to stand up to your parents.
Shit, so that's my mom is Neville.
Right.
So
we're gonna let all the rest of our panel introduce themselves. Today I'm not the only female on the bunch, so we will start with her. Thank
we got
God.
time to complain.
Y'all ain't tired of nothing. So we will start with you. Please introduce yourself.
I am Shamil.
Who?
Shamil. I am Shamil.
What y'all not gonna do is clown her and get on her case. That's what y'all not gonna do. Blackness.
I'm Terrence, how y'all doing? Alex.
Y'all remember Terrence and Alex from our last episode of Hip Hop Now and Then. If you haven't seen it, go to the YouTube page. Are you really waving?
I'm going.
That nigga decided to be on the camera.
He's back again. He's back again. If you haven't seen them, please go check out the page and look at the last couple videos. Make sure you subscribe and like. We do have one other panel guest, which is Mr.
Chef Dante, how y'all doing?
He had to put chef, so you had to make sure you put.
People know me.
Chef Dante. I'm gonna call you Dante. Okay, it's gonna be Dante for this cast.
People know.
So let's definitely dive right in. First of all, who has ever confronted their parent?
Me.
That's why we brought you on the
I'm gonna say, I know I have.
I gotta ask what age were you when you did that?
Okay, so give us the story. Like, take us to that day.
You want me to take you to different scenarios?
Hey,
So it was more than one? Okay, all right. Take us to your favorite. Take us to your favorite.
Okay, first off, let me tell y'all, my father was a pastor before he passed away. So
PK kids.
yes, and it's bad because people just look at us more than other people. So that's what I guess made it worse because I'm a PK kid and I should know how to act. That's what they think.
But I say PK kids is the worst.
But it's because everybody's looking at us because our daddy is preaching the word.
That's true.
And it's but I'm like, hey, you preach to these people in the pew, and then you come back, and then you preach to me later because God got me.
I know that's right.
So I'm just like, you keep that over there, and I'm gonna run this way with my Excel walk, and I'm like, I'll run back later, you know.
I get that.
That's where mine was, because I have, I guess you want to say, I have 3 older siblings, and then I have 2 younger siblings, so it's 6 of us. So my parents have 2 sets of kids, and the older crew, my older sister just turned 52. Then I have a sister that's 50. Then my brother turned 49. Okay. So then I'm 40. Okay. And my sister's 38, and my brother's 35. Okay. So we have it's 2 sets of kids, as I tell people, because I'm like, the older crew, they don't do nothing. They did what they did, but they just like but it's one out of every one, because my brother in that set that's 49, he was kind of like me.
It's always the one. There's always that one that makes the rules. So it's like the older siblings make the rules, and then you have the younger ones who decide, okay, I'm gonna test the waters. Right. And then you got the babies who like, I just really don't care.
Right. Because it's like my older brother, he would never fight my daddy. He would just leave. And he would just go stay at another girl house, because he was that kind of dude. Mm-hmm. So he was like, I'm gonna chill with a bunch of people.
Hello, my name is Ellie, and I want to talk to you about having a strict parent. Being a parent is hard, they say, and some parents do a perfect job. Some don't. And then there is my mom. She has taken this parenting thing too serious, to my mind, and I am scared of her. Listen to my story. My mom is single. My dad died when I was only 2, and I don't remember him at all. My mom was very young, 23 or 24 at the time, and there was literally no one to help her. She was an orphan. But kudos to my mom. Her self-control and discipline is admirable. She managed to get a job, raise me, and never complained. How did she manage to sort out her life without any support? She's that type of obsessive person who is supposed to be excellent in everything they do. She was a straight A student at school, top student at college. Then she got pregnant and had me. But her life was well planned. The initial idea was that when I grew up a bit, she was returning back to studies and starting her career as a lawyer. And I am sure she would have succeeded. But then my dad died and she had to reinvent herself, get a job, and forget about studies. So this is where my mom's story ends and mine starts. I have always been a regular child. I mean, an absolutely ordinary child, 100% similar to any other child on the earth. But this was not enough for my mom. You see, looking back, I understand that her thought was that her daughter must be perfect, like anything else in her life. And I was not perfect at all. I liked running around, shouting, climbing trees, jumping in puddles, and coming home dirty, being lazy and disobeying, sometimes throwing tantrums. And this is when it all started. She started being strict and punishing me. No domestic violence, of course. I was 5 or 6 when my mother once got angry at me and explained to me very clearly that she expected me to be obedient, calm, and do whatever she told me to do. It all sounds perfectly normal, but you should have seen the look she gave me at that point. She explained to me that she was already having lots of problems and didn't want me to add any. So I was supposed to grow up immediately and become a responsible young lady. And she actually didn't expect any objections. That was when my super disciplined life started.
Okay, so y'all are going to pause because y'all are going to hear that sound a lot. So we convene always before we air and before we record, and that has been Dante's sound. So if y'all hear it, please understand. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just Dante. So what was the instance that you actually confronted? Was your dad that you confronted?
My dad.
Okay, so tell us about that incident.
Okay, well, I came in the house late. Right, because we was never supposed to come in the house late. So I came in the house late, but I tried to explain why I was late.
Okay.
And so he was like, no, because I told you, you know what time you supposed to come in. Don't act like you don't know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking like, but for real. Like, I always told the truth. He just ain't like it. Because I was never that type to lie. Because I'm like, I'm going to lie to the police, but I'm not going to lie to my kids. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I was. So I'm like, I'll tell you the truth, but you just don't like it because you like, lie.
Right.
I'm telling you. And so then he's like, go get my belt. Okay. I'm gonna go get it. But I never was the one to cry.
So you and me.
Right. My brothers never would be like, you better cry. Because he'll stop beating you if you cry. I'm like, we about to take this. And so
Who said that?
Chains, whips, oh my.
Take this.
OnlyFans.com.
I think that's what it is too. That's another thing. Because I like pain now. So I'm like, I really
Why you change the topic?
They are about to go completely in the house.
That is the truth.
Hey, the truth will set you
It
free.
will. Because I'm like that meme that be like,
But see, I can relate because I was that kid that every time I got beat, I did not cry.
right.
And every time I never cried. And I have to agree with her. I like pain now as an adult. As an adult, pain doesn't feel me.
I do agree. I had whoopings, and after a while, I
don't care about you. No.
Stay in my lane. Only press the buttons.
Go ahead. I know that.
But no, he was like, go get the belt. So I go get the belt. And he had one of these long belts. Like long, thick ones, like back in the day, they don't even make no more. And so he got the going to town. You know what I'm saying? But then he came up. He came up towards my face, and I'm looking like, this is what you're not gonna do. You can say body wise. But
my face do not touch
We're not about to do this. Exactly. And I'm like, he knew keywords like don't my face. This we're not about to play.
Right.
So when he came too close, I grabbed the belt. And so he was like, is this what you're gonna do? Is this how you gonna do? And I'm like, yes. You're not about to come this way. You can swing however else you wanna do, but you come up this way, you know we fighting. So
I can't get mad at that though.
So I stepped back and we started fighting. We started like we was.
Wait, so y'all got to actual blows?
Yes, and I picked up a radio and I threw it at him because I'm short. I'm only 5'1.5". I want y'all to know.
In a half.
Please understand this. Listen, those halves mean a lot because I'm 5'4.5". You will not cut off my half.
You're right.
I'm 5'7.5". You won't cut off mine. Won't let it go down.
And so he was like, "What in the world?" And he was like, telling my mama, get your daughter. And my mama was like, "Oh my God." Cause I'm like, by then, like we punching, throwing stuff, like I'm throwing everything I can.
Wow.
Right. And so after that, it was like, oh my God, she the one who want to fight. I'm looking like, yes, we're not about to do this face thing. Mm-hmm. Like he because he's a preacher. Like they think they can say and do whatever they want to because it's in the Bible. Yeah. Everything not in the Bible, and they make up some stuff along the way.
Spread the rod.
But it don't say come to my face. It don't say nothing to my face.
Don't come on my face.
Because they'll kiss you with that. Let's just seek his face. You are not here. Right. I am not seeking this face. No.
In any trouble, I was not supposed to object to what I was told to do. I was supposed to be always neat, tidy, precise, and punctual. At school, I had to get only A marks. And what happened if I failed? Well, nothing terrible. She was just looking at me and saying calmly that she was deeply disappointed. It's horrible to get that from your mom, believe me. If I screwed up a lot, she grounded me, or banned me from watching TV, or something else. If it was a huge screw up, I got special treatment. Once, after school, I didn't go straight home but went for a walk with my friends. When I came home, Mom stared at me. Just stared. Nothing else. She didn't pronounce a word. And she remained silent for a couple of weeks until I got my courage and came to her to make peace. It doesn't sound horrible at all. It's not abuse or anything. But for me, this was pressure I couldn't bear. Point is that I was not perfect. I was not good enough at school, and I couldn't meet my mom's expectations. And I got punished not only when I did something wrong, but when I did my best and failed. I remember that sometimes I received test marks and prayed to God it was an A. If it was a B, I came home and Mom explained to me coldly that I was disappointing. I started telling lies to cover up some things that my mom wouldn't like, and when she found out, she stopped talking to me for weeks. It was a vicious circle of blame and punishment, and I couldn't get out of it. Don't think it was always terror and nothing else. She's actually very affectionate, and I got lots of attention from her and lots of love, until at some point I didn't screw up again, and this emotional roller coaster gave me lots of stress. However, there is a good point in having a strict parent. At some point, you notice that you start being more organized and responsible. This is my strong point. But when I got to my teens, I was so frustrated because my mom told me who my friends could be and who not, and what I was supposed to do or think, and of course, no boys. You don't treat a teenager like that. I'm not a child anymore. But I still couldn't stand up for myself. What I did was I took up volleyball and became the strongest hitter on my team. I put all the force of my frustration into every attack I was making. However, when I was 16, time came to do something. Once Mom again tried to prohibit me from going out with my friends without explaining any reasons, just I said no. That's when I decided to give her the talk. Time had finally come to stand up for myself. I told her that I was 16. I was a responsible and mature person, and I could decide for myself what was wrong and what was right. I was not perfect, and I understood that she wanted me to succeed in order to fulfill ambitions she had to put off. But now, it was enough. I'm soon going to college, Mom. Just leave me alone and take care of yourself. It was harsh, and Mom made this stiff face she always had. But it didn't influence me anymore. I just came out of home and understood that she couldn't do anything to me. She had to give up at some point. And you know what? Life goes on.
And so that's why I'm like, and our arguments and fights got worse. You know, so that's my thing. Ours got worse.
Oh, I know.
And yeah, so.
Did y'all make up after that?
Only because my daddy got sick.
What?
Wow.
Because before then, I was like, yo, nigga, I would change your pills around if it was And I was that bad because I was like, you're not gonna. And he would be like, but when he got real sick, that's when we talked about, you know what I'm saying, that whole forgiveness thing. Cause I'm like, you let my brothers go stay at other girls' houses, but we had to be in the house at 11 o'clock. Who you? What?
And that is the difference between women being raised and you ninjas here.
Well, women, you can go. Well, listen. I send my son over here 11 o'clock. Boom, boom, boom. But I will, if somebody come over here, or if I send my daughter, she can come back with a whole baby. Now, I will say if my son's wear protection and he pull out, do his thing, boo, boo, boo. But women is like, you gotta do like, I don't know, you know what I mean? You know.
The consequences is still the same. But still, in that situation, you still end up with a baby. Why do y'all get
you control the seed. You control the seed at that point.
She controlled giving it up too.
Yes, but guess what? It can just go. But guess what? A lot of people will be like, "Oh, well, I'm pregnant. I can't give it up. She a preach kid. You think she gonna like what?" I mean, well, I don't know. You out here poisoning or switching pills around. I don't know. You might be like, you don't have this.
But no, when I had my daughter, he loved my daughter because he didn't never tell us that he loved. I mean, you know, he never was like, Mill, I love you. Mill, I'm glad you graduated from high school. I'm glad you graduated from college, even though you have a baby. You know, he was never saying that. He was always other stuff, praising other. It was like he was praising everybody else but his children. He would talk about us now. We was the topic of a sermon every all the time. You know what I'm saying? But it would be like, get your husband. If you don't tell him to stop talking about us, cause it's not that drastic. I'm like, I know other preachers' kids, shit. They gay. One gay, and they ain't even told his daddy he gay, and the other one, she sure a lesbian, and she ain't telling nobody either. I'm like, yo, and his son just slept with 2 of these deaconess. Not, yeah, and them other people's wives,
or the son, or they get children of musicians, and because they think they're entitled, they go to sleep with everybody. Yeah, that right there, that's another topic right there. Yeah.
I'm like the piano player's son sleeping with the preacher's daughter. I'm like, I'm lost, but you gonna preach about us or what we doing? So how I'm running from the police, right? What you telling that?
So how old were you when that instance happened? How old were you? Remember?
I was 15.
Okay, so you were 15. All right, so one of the guys, since
y'all was like 19. I was hoping you'd say 19, like, whoa.
No.
You said, nah, I was a junior.
But
a sophomore.
Really?
15.
Really?
Yeah, you
So any of the guys, have you guys stood up to your parents, or even, let's take it here, even possibly almost stood up to your parents?
I feel like most time the situation different, but I stood up to my father. I remember the day he asked me to take like my sister, and I was babysitting somebody. He was like, hey, go to your auntie house. I don't have that much gas. He drove a Navigator. He was like, go take him here. Don't leave anywhere. I don't have no gas. So I go ahead and do what he says, and then my homie called me like, bro, I need you to come scoop me. I'm like, bro, I can't. Well, what's up? He's like, bro, I'm smashing this girl. Her daddy came home. I need to get out of here. I said, all right, well, where you at? And he was like literally around the corner. So I'm like, bet, I come get you. Go get my mans, everything cool. We have to go back to my dad's house, He's tripping. Now, at the moment, I think I'm like a senior, and I had only about like a dub in my pocket, if that. Probably had like 10. I didn't take out too much money, and he was like, yeah, I told you not to go anywhere. I'm like, my man's about to basically get killed. Don't know what's going on with my man's. I need to go ahead and go get him. I told you not to go anywhere. All right, how much money you got? So my man was like, you got some trees on you? He was like, no, I got you. Just give me back later. So I was like, all right, I got, this amount of money on me. I'm like, just give me some, like a little bit back. That's all my cash. Give it to him. He like, I got you. Snatched my money, didn't give me no change. And then that's when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need some of that cheese back. Now we didn't heat it. I'm up, he's up in his face. And I was like, you know what, for this Escalade, let me just leave. So I just started walking home, and I live a good 4 miles from, at least 4 miles from there. And I was 18. No, he's in Brightmont. I had to walk back to 10 Mile and Southfield from Brightmont, 6 Mile Lasher.
Jesus.
Yeah.
As y'all can tell, they're from the same hood, and this is actually Jamel's nephew. So they can relate. So you were high school, so about 17, 18?
Yeah. 17, 18. Was I 18 yet? I don't think I was 18. I was 17.
And this was recent because you what, 23?
23 just turned, so it was pretty kind of recent. I mean, we got into it many times, but it was that first time, and I was like,
"You still smell like Pampers, man."
I knew it was coming. Last time it was Similac, this time it's Pampers. But at least it
smells good. I've been trying to find that smell from a baby to get that.
Smell like that baby magic lotion.
That dollar store baby magic.
Baby smell good.
Okay, so from one of y'all old heads, that mainly that'll be you, Jamel. You pop out. Did you ever confront your parents?
Well, I mean, yes, but mine's more out of
had a lot of animosity as a child. And I think that, you know, all that anger kind of build up. And I think one day we were in Alabama, because my dad's from Alabama. And the night before I cut, me and my cousin and my sister all went out, and we talking, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, the whole time I'm not really saying anything. I'm just kind of like, agreeing. And my sister was like saying some stuff. I was saying, you know, I was kind of like, yeah, you're right. And we kind of mentioned some stuff that, you know, my dad had did. You know, yeah, he did this, he did that, blah, blah, blah. That was it. Came back the next day. We supposed to go to the mall somewhere. And he pulls up. You, get in the house. At this time I was married. So I'm married, got a wife, my sister. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, you embarrassed to be in front of my wife. You know what I'm saying? Get in the house. So like, you know, he coming in, screaming, get in the house. As soon as he walked in the door, I was like, boom. And then we started going at it. And, you know, I don't know, something just snapped. I think all the animosity just snapped. I'm trying to stomp him out, you know.
You forgot he was your daddy, didn't you?
Yeah.
But
you were temporary insane. Temporary insanity is what he
like. No, it's a big old, this is a whole big old scene, which is, no, right, this time I ain't proud of, you know. Let's not say that. But I think too with that, you know, like I said, there's so much animosity build up, and that kind of like leads into some of the things that I want to kind of bring up in here. It's like a lot of times, especially in the black household, you know, we was always brought up, you can't say nothing back, can't do nothing, you know. And if you did, even if you didn't go to church, what we used to call CME Christian, Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter, you know what I'm saying?
Right. You know you gotta get there at least about 30 minutes before service starts. You have a party. That is,
you know, you always heard that, obey our parents.
Oh, it's Easter.
If y'all didn't figure out, Lamar is the wild card, so y'all gonna laugh every time.
You always still heard that, obey your parents and your days shall be long. You know, you heard a version of that, whether it's those exact words or be something like that. You know, and most black kids know that scripture. They don't know nothing else, they know that one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we kind of had that in the back of our heads, and we build up so much animosity, and then you don't have a outlet for it. You can't speak, you can't say anything. You know, it has to be released some kind of way. And I think, like, for me, that was my releasing point. You know, you know, of course, I would have been better just to talk it out.
You like, nigga, I have enough.
You know what I'm saying?
Talking is all communication.
Talking is always better.
As they say, communication is the key, young man.
Yeah, but technically, if we talking and my mouth is at the end of my fist, we talking.
That's right.
But, you know, so I think a lot of times the way we were raised, you know, it leads to this, all these other problems that we have along as we get adults, that we pass that down to our children.
Right.
You know, I was reading an article, and it's kind of talking about black kids in general, the stuff that we couldn't say. And I was reading, I was like, yeah, that's it. I remember saying that. You know, I remember hearing that. You know, like, let's talk about, like, eat all, like, you gotta, they used to call it clean plate club. Yeah. You get everything off your food.
Then you got dessert.
You know what I'm saying?
Juice. They have the juice.
Right. That's just obesity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because even to this day, I don't care where I'm at, I can be full. I still try to eat everything.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
Hence why I let that girl down. We was not leaving that table until
my story was was with my dad, but I was gonna bring up granddad, and because I was yo daddy, I was gonna bring up yo daddy, and I was like, you know, I have a little story with my own father, but the reason I was gonna bring up. Well, I'm bringing it up since you said it, because the thing that happened with you and your daddy is the reason why me and your daddy was about to get into it one day. And this nigga, I would say, his daddy cared so much about this Benz, so much, and we was about to get into it over a Benz car. And he was like, oh, you think I'm gonna let you do what Jamel did to me? And I was like, what? That's not big flashback. Like a totally different kid. What is that? I was like, hold on.
I know you ain't get details. You just almost kill this nigga because if you feel like that, what you do to this nigga?
I think you gave him the animosity after y'all fight. I think it transferred from you to him.
I've been training 44.
My parents are very rich people, and I'm not telling this to you like I'm bragging. It's not a rich kid thing at all. It's more than that. I am not a rich kid at all. Yeah, you heard that right. With my parents being crazy rich, I'm actually pretty poor. I live in a small guest house with minimal furniture besides my parents' mansion. I get a ridiculously small amount of allowance money, and I don't feel rich at all. Okay, I guess I've got some stuff to explain here. My parents are self-made people. That's what they like to say, and it's basically true. They both started from the bottom, their families were always struggling, and they met when they were very young, way before they earned their fortune. They started a business, which over several years grew to be 2 different companies, both pretty big. They basically had 2 weddings. The first one, when they were young and poor, and the second one, at an ultra-luxurious resort in the Bahamas years later. I mean, I've only seen the video. I was 10 and I was not invited. Here's where we get to the important part. I was never a part of the family, financially. My parents have always been sure that if I got exposed to money growing up, I would grow up spoiled, lazy, selfish, arrogant, like that idiot rich kid from any school movie. Apparently, each of them had a guy during their school years who was a total moron and who happened to come from a rich family. I don't know the details because they were never really willing to talk about it, but the idea that money spoils children has stayed with them for years. So, okay, now that you know the background, let's get into the story. It started at one of my parents' famous parties. Every week, there's either a party or a reception, or whatever you call it, at their house. They love stuff like that, and they like saying that they earned these nights with their hard work. Needless to say, I'm almost never invited to these occasions since, first, I have to go to sleep early to be disciplined, and, of course, because of the money thing. Sometimes I would just crash those parties and chat with people until my dad noticed, or sabotage them by turning off all the lights or something. I had nothing to lose, really. That day was one of those days. My parents are friends with a couple who have a daughter. Her name is Cecilia. She's 16, and I've seen her around a couple of times. I even talked to her once at my friend's birthday. She's really cute and funny, and she always comes over with her parents. Again, how messed up is that? Kids my age and even younger come to my parents' parties all the time, and I have to be in the guest house and go to sleep at 10. So this time, I snuck in again. Cecilia was there and I started talking to her. Everything was going fine, until my dad showed up.
3 years for this. You see, you might as well do your push-ups now.
But there's something about parents and their cars that stimulates some arguments. I think, at least for the men folk in the room.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you sound like is that how you and your daddy got into it?
We didn't really get into it per se, but
well, your daddy called you black as hell, you got mad.
Yeah, we got
darkness.
Nah. The dark night that's into.
Chocolate.
We own this one car, right? It's a Nissan Altima.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you know what I mean? I told you about it before.
Yeah.
We got that.
So you own the baby mama car?
I'm sorry?
Now, we'll explain it to him later. You know, he a virgin. No.
Oh, God, we don't care. Oh, Lord, here we go.
I should grab my coochie though.
Man, I'm gonna watch the dust on
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Wait, so you guys had a Nissan Altima.
So look, right? So we always go through this thing where we gotta put gas in the car.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We always find over gas.
Mm-hmm.
It was one night, right?
Who left it on you or him?
He left it last, right? I had some nerve jokes. I think I should lie. Damn, when did the show eat, bro? I think I was going. What was I going? I was going by you. I think I'm by him, bro.
So you the corporate Alex?
No. Nah, but yeah, I go to the car, whatever. Come in the car. This nigga left it on E, bro. Like, damn, bro, what the hell, dog? I be putting in gas, bro. Come on, bro. This thing you can do is put in gas for the car, bro. Go back inside. Like, yo, Pops, ain't no gas in the car, man. He's like, oh, my fault. I was like, man, your fault? What you mean your fault, man? I was like, all right, bro, let's go. I'm gonna just call Alex, bro. So I called him up and he came and scooped me.
So you're the situation that you almost did, but the fearness of how you were.
I was gonna say he got punked.
He got I'm gonna tell you.
What we not gonna do is we gonna end it. And I'm trying to get
no, nigga. Oh, okay.
You stop. Like you
I did ask him. I did. He was like,
okay, but no. How did you ask for gas money? How did you can I get a couple bucks for gas, Daddy?
Hey, no. This nigga hyped himself up at the car. He's like, hey, you know that? Oh, wait, I'm
gonna go talk to him. We're gonna be face to face. Matter of fact, I guarantee. Lamar, I guarantee. That's real. I guarantee he was on the phone with Alex. And he was like, yo, bruh. Hey, ain't got no gas in the car. Ain't got no gas in the car.
That's exactly what it is. That's what you did.
What he say? Hey, yo, can you pick me up, bro? My dad got the gas. I'm like, shit.
Don't feel bad. We not like you, Mel. We ain't switching up no medication.
No.
Hey, my mom and daddy play that shit. So me, whatever went down, it won't. I still gotta fight with them. I'm 32, and I still get told what to do.
But listen, it's not like my daddy didn't play that shit. Cause my daddy pulled out a gun on my brother was about to shoot him. Me and my we lived in the country, so my daddy would cut out 2x4s and have them and make a paddle. So you could how much he worked. We were kids. That's what we said. Y'all it was my brain was like, you're not about to keep fucking with me like this.
But see,
cause my mama
went even crazier than usual. He shouted at me saying I wasn't supposed to be there and that I was supposed to be in bed already. It was so embarrassing that it actually felt painful. Like I was a 2-year-old or something. Everyone heard it, and Cecilia did too, of course. I couldn't even say anything. I just walked out of the room in total silence. That night, something broke inside of me. Like, I probably should have come to this conclusion long ago, but I could not go on like this. Something had to be done. Pretty soon, I realized that what I needed most of all was money. It would have solved a lot of problems. I could do whatever I wanted. Well, not literally whatever I wanted, but you get the point. After looking for a part-time job for a while and not finding anything good, I decided I needed to start some kind of business, like my parents did years ago. And what happened next was pretty unbelievable. I'll try to make this short. My parents have a friend, let's call him Mr. J, and he's a businessman too. He has a company that has something to do with real estate, but as a hobby, he runs a small vinyl record shop, like as a side project. He told me that in the 70s, he was in a rock band and thought that music was his life. But then the times changed and their band didn't take off. So he had to leave the idea of a music career behind. And the record shop was his connection to that world he had to leave. So I had this idea. I knew that some of my friends were also trying to collect vinyl records, get record players, and all that. So I thought that I could negotiate with Mr. J to get some of his records on credit and sell them to people I knew. He happily agreed. I asked him not to tell my parents, and he understood me, since all of my parents' friends knew about their parenting methods. Now I see that I had literally 0 reasons to start selling vinyl records, but I guess I just got lucky. First, my friends and classmates bought a couple of them. That got me a little more money than I get from my parents, because I had to give most of my revenue to Mr. J for the records. But then pretty slowly I started to get new clients. Not just friends or guys from my school, but also friends of friends, their moms and dads, weird uncles, and hippie grandpas. I don't want to overstate my success, but at some point it seemed that there was even some kind of trend for vinyl records at my school, specifically because I was selling them. Anyway, at some point I realized that I had started to earn enough money to move out and rent an apartment for a couple of months. But from the day I started the whole thing, I knew what I wanted to do when I got my first decent profits. I wanted to throw a party right inside my guest house, 200 feet from my parents' house. And the party would be so big, pompous, and loud that it would definitely get their attention. 15 minutes after I put on some loud music, they came to see what was going on. They seemed surprised, but they were not angry. As people who knew something about throwing parties, they were impressed by what I had set up. They wanted to get in and see what was going on inside. But that was where the final part of my plan came in. I met them right at the gates of the party zone and told them that it was a closed event and that they could not get in. I was ready for them to start a fight, but they just smiled and walked away, back to their own house. I did not expect that at all, and it kind of bugged me for the whole night. But the party was still amazing nonetheless, and I got excellent feedback. Cecilia seemed to like it more than anybody. When I went to my parents' house for breakfast the next morning, which does not happen on the weekends, I was still expecting an argument, but they seemed even happier than usual. Here's the thing. I did not think that the whole record business thing would get back to them, but it did. So for the last month, they knew what was going on, and they were happy that I had finally started to earn money. And when they saw how big the party was, they realized that my business was going pretty well. And that was what they were trying to achieve for all these years. They wanted me to be motivated like they were when they were young and determined to get out of poverty.
Don't get it twisted. I fear my mama, God, and then I don't fear no man. You feel what I'm saying? My mama comes before God because my mama is Shell Bell. Like, my mama was punching my sister and them in front of their boyfriends, and I was like, nigga, we're not about to do this.
It's like you clutch your
And I mean, like, literally punch my sister down to the, like, I was looking like, ooh. See, I'm not playing with but parents, like, cause I guess it was because my daddy was verbal with his, and I'm like, he had a big voice cause he preached, but it was like, that don't scare me. That don't scare me. Cause when you up there in that pew, I mean up there in that pulpit, then okay, I'm gonna respect you, but when you come down here, you turn into another man, and we're not about to do this. Like, I came out of my mama's coochie. You only help with 2.5 seconds of some sperm. and I'm like, you're not about to say what you think you're gonna say. I let you call me a lesbian because I wore CK1 and I mean, you know, because when you sail on the block. Shit. And I told her.
Terrence.
Listen, I was debating in my head, like I was like, I'm gonna clown her, but I just started debating in my head, and she had her phone ring.
Hey, but
all bars are gone.
Yeah, but on some real shit though, like
my homeboy from work.
I feel like the older you get, I think you should have more leeway.
Yeah, that's what it was.
On what you, because I'm on the other side of this shit now.
Yeah.
You know, I got two little girls.
Yeah.
So I see this shit different.
Exactly.
I see this shit different from when I was on the other side. Because especially like, I got my own house. Right. I got my own set of rules, and I expect them to be abided by. Right. And that's how it was growing up. I mean, you know, you didn't ask no questions. Like you said, you didn't ask no questions. There wasn't no talking back. You just took the shit. And there were times, even when you get 16, 17, 18 years old, you're like, I gotta bring to my own. This ain't right. But until you get them bills in your name, you're wrong. That's just what it was.
That's the only way I thought. I was like, man, I don't want to step on anybody's toes around here, you know what I mean? They still got me living in here, you know what I mean? I still got a roof over my head. Yeah. I'm not really doing much. I'm still going to school. I don't have to pay for much.
Oh, no.
I feel like
I don't that is good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like I said, going back to my situation, at the time, my chest was out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I was like 22.
It was too late to pull out.
It was completely selling yourself.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I remember, like when I was a kid, it was always me and my dad. You know what I'm saying? He'll come tuck me in, he rub his beard on my face, you know, good night, that kind of thing.
That's weird.
But see,
that is father minded.
You might not know the real names. They do that, but
that is old. That's old school parenting. That is old school parenting.
So like, you know, that's what I was used to. And then like him and my mom, you know, kind of separated. But it wasn't like he went to go get some bread and come back kind of separation. You know what I'm saying? It was like